KwaZulu-Natal ranks 4th in South Africa when it comes to COVID-19 deaths at the moment. Premier Sihle Zikalala says since the start of the pandemic, the province has recorded more than 300,000 infections. Zikalala was briefing the media earlier on the province's response to the virus. Well, our reporter Dasen Thathiah is in Durban. He was watching that briefing. Dasen, so the Premier seems to be very optimistic, but still quite worried about the virus in the province.
Definitely, and as he should be, Uveka, and that's just looking at the numbers over the past few days. He says that the province has recorded around 500 new infections every day for the recent past, and that's over the past week or so. But the numbers that, they are really concerned about is around the issue of the infections almost doubling if you look at this past week versus the week before that. But despite all of that, as you mentioned, the province is not in the third wave. So government being very cautiously optimistic about what they're seeing at the moment. The good news is that the vaccination rollout is well underway. There are over 350 vaccination sites that are dealing with that. So you're looking at about over 360,000 senior citizens that have managed to get that jab. Now, as you'll know, the next step of their focus will be around teachers and getting them vaccinated. So they've got about 90-odd dedicated vaccination sites for that when that gets underway. But let's listen to what the Premier had to say about the vaccine rollout.
We continue to make significant headway with the vaccination of both our senior citizens, age 60 and above, as well as healthcare workers who could not be vaccinated during the first phase. As of the 18th June, we had vaccinated 362,226 senior citizens, as well as 127 health workers. The total number of senior citizens who are currently registered on the electronic vaccination data system currently stands at 501,210. The number of vaccination sites that we have now prepared for the Pfizer vaccine is 359, whereas for teachers who will be receiving the Johnson & Johnson vaccine from the 23rd of June to the 8th of July, we had prepared 91 vaccination sites. The province is now vaccinating 13,000 people per day. We are intensifying vaccination of the elderly and increasing more capacity, especially in township and rural areas.
So, Dasen, whatever you attribute it to, the numbers in the province still relatively low compared to other provinces.
It is, and it's just about the fourth highest in the country. And as I mentioned, the Premier is not exactly celebrating that, because he says that when the third wave does come, it happens quite quickly, as we've seen with the second wave as well. So it's something that they're now just saying, look, continue this relatively good behavior, which has contributed, I guess, to the lower numbers. But at the same time, we just need to be mindful of the fact that it can happen any time. As I mentioned earlier, the numbers have been picking up, and KZN has been straddling that threshold. So it did reach what we would call the trigger level on about 2 days in this month alone. But fortunately, it wasn't sustained, which meant that the province then didn't fall into the third wave. Let's listen to the Premier once again.
KwaZulu-Natal has been extremely fortunate that our numbers are still where they are and are not at a high level like it's happening in other 4 provinces. But we want to make one clear thing. The fact that our numbers are relatively low should, under no circumstance, mean that we must be complacent. We need to act with vigilance and be so serious in following all regulations that have been put in place.
Well, I know, Dasen, we've been talking about life and death matters, but can we please talk about the diamonds now? We have to change tack a little bit. And did the Premier have anything to say about that diamond hunt in KZN?
And you know, that's been all over social media, and our colleague Letiwe Mhluli has been covering that story quite thoroughly as well this week. And I guess the biggest question then, Yuveka, is what everyone wanted to know. So are those stones that everyone was collecting, are they in fact diamonds? Are they valuable? And that's why we saw this week that team of specialists that had gone out there. National government had also sent a delegation. Those geoscientists then having to work out what it was that was found there in KwaZulu-Natal. So the Premier says that wait will come to an end. Look, he was also concerned about the large numbers of people that were gathered there firstly. So it was in fact related to his COVID-19 concerns. And he's encouraged people just to be responsible, especially in that area as well as other parts of the province. But it looks like there will be some answers today, Yuveka, at 4 o'clock. We will hear if in fact those stones are diamond. There is a briefing that will be held. But let's listen to the Premier touching on that issue of diamonds in this press briefing.
Welcome the developments of a delegation made up of geoscientists, government officials and other interested parties to KwaZulu-Natal earlier this week. We are aware that today a delegation from the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy and the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, led by MEC Pillay, as well as MEC for Transport, Community Safety and Liaison, MEC Peking Konyeni, are engaging with stakeholders and will together with relevant bodies pronounce on the outcome today at 16 p.m. This will bring certainty for the people on whether this or what have been found is indeed precious stone or something else. So as government, we have not pronounced ourselves on the matter, but instead we left it to geoscientists who have conducted their studies, and they will give the feedback this afternoon.